Hello History Adventures, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're embarking on one of the greatest journeys in American history. Imagine stepping into a vast, uncharted wilderness, with no maps, no GPS, and no idea what lies ahead. That was the reality for Meriwether Lewis and William Clark. In 1803, the United States made a deal that doubled its size overnight. The Louisiana Purchase. President Thomas Jefferson, a man with an insatiable curiosity, bought a massive swath of land from France, stretching from the Mississippi River to the Rocky Mountains. But here's the thing. No American really knew what was out there. Jefferson envisioned a passage to India, a water route across the continent that would unlock immense trade possibilities. To find it, he needed the best of the best. He chose his personal secretary, Meriwether Lewis, a brilliant but sometimes melancholic army captain. Lewis knew he couldn't do it alone, so he recruited his former commanding officer and trusted friend, William Clark. Clark was a skilled cartographer, a rugged frontiersman, and a natural leader. Together, they were the perfect team. They assembled a diverse group of about 40 men, known as the Corps of Discovery. This wasn't just a band of soldiers. It included hunters, blacksmiths, carpenters, and even a Newfoundland dog named Seaman, who would prove to be a valuable member of the team. Their mission was immense: map the new territory, document its plants and animals, establish trade with Native American tribes, and, most importantly, find that elusive water route to the Pacific Ocean. In May of 1804, the Corps of Discovery set off from near St. Louis, pushing their keelboat and two smaller boats against the powerful current of the Missouri River. The first part of their journey was a grueling test of endurance. The men rowed, poled, and sometimes even towed the heavy boats from the riverbanks. They battled relentless mosquitoes, sweltering heat, and the sheer physical exhaustion of moving upstream. Along the way, Clark's incredible map-making skills began to create the first accurate picture of the American West. Lewis, a self-taught botanist and zoologist, meticulously documented hundreds of new species. They encountered animals they had only heard rumors of, like the barking squirrels we now call prairie dogs, and the massive grizzly bears, which they quickly learned were far more formidable than the black bears back east. Their first winter was spent near the Mandan and Hidatsa villages in what is now North Dakota. This stop proved to be one of the most critical moments of the entire expedition. It was here they met two people who would change the course of their journey: a French-Canadian fur trader named Toussaint Charbonneau and his young Shoshone wife. While they hired Charbonneau as an interpreter, it was Sacagawea who became their indispensable guide and diplomat. She was just a teenager, and she brought along her infant son, Gian Baptiste. Her presence alone was a symbol of peace to the various tribes they would encounter. A war party would never travel with a woman and a child. Sacagawea's knowledge of edible plants saved the men from starvation more than once, and her ability to communicate with other tribes was invaluable. As spring of 1805 arrived, the Corps pushed onward into territory completely unknown to outsiders. The Missouri River narrowed, and they faced the Great Falls, a series of massive waterfalls that forced them into an agonizing, month-long portage. They had to haul their heavy dugout canoes and all their supplies over 18 miles of rough, cactus-covered terrain. It was a back-breaking ordeal that tested the limits of their resolve. But beyond the falls lay their next great challenge: the towering, seemingly impassable Rocky Mountains. They had hoped the river would lead them through, but it didn't. They were stuck. It was here that Sacagawea's presence became a miracle. They encountered a band of Shoshone people, and in an incredible twist of fate, the chief, Waite, was Sacagawea's long-lost brother. This reunion wasn't just a touching moment, it was the key to their survival. The Shoshone provided the Corps with horses and guided them through the treacherous mountain passes, saving the expedition from a disastrous failure. Crossing the Rockies was the most difficult part of the entire journey. Starving, cold, and exhausted, they stumbled out of the mountains and onto the plains of Modendai, Idaho, where they were found by the Nez Perce tribe. The Nez Perce welcomed them, fed them, and helped them build new canoes to navigate the final leg of their journey west. With the current finally at their backs, they paddled down the Clearwater, Snake, and finally, the mighty Columbia River. The landscape changed dramatically from dry plains to lush, temperate rainforest. Then, in November of 1805, after a year and a half of relentless travel, Clark wrote the immortal words in his journal. Ocean in view. Oh, the joy. They had reached the Pacific Ocean. They hadn't found an easy Northwest Passage, because one didn't exist, but they had crossed the continent. They built Fort Clatsop near the coast and endured a miserably wet and dreary winter. Food was scarce, and morale was low, but they persevered. In the spring of 1806, they began the long journey home. To maximize their exploration, the Corps split into two groups on the return trip. Lewis took a more direct route, which led to the expedition's only violent encounter with a group of Blackfeet warriors. Clark, meanwhile, explored the Yellowstone River. The groups reunited on the Missouri River and traveled swiftly downstream, arriving back in Lewis in September 1806. They had been gone for over 2 years and were presumed dead by many. Their return was met with shock and celebration. The Lewis and Clark expedition was a monumental success. They had traveled over 8,000 miles, documented more than 170 new plants and 120 new animals, and created nearly 140 maps that would guide the next generation of pioneers and settlers. They established peaceful contact with dozens of Native American tribes and shattered the myth of an easy water route to the Pacific. But their journey was more than just data and maps. It was a story of human courage, resilience, and the power of teamwork. It was a multi-ethnic, multicultural team that succeeded because of their combined skills and mutual respect. Their journals opened up the west of the American imagination and set the stage for the nation's expansion to the Pacific. It remains one of the most fascinating and important adventures in human history. What an incredible story, right? The sheer scale of what they accomplished is just staggering. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey back in time. If you enjoyed this video and want to explore more amazing stories from history, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments which historical expedition you'd like to see covered next. Until then, stay curious.